Good morning, Charter Oak students, and you're halfway through this course, and so I thought I'd give a little bit of a where do we go from here, where have we come from in this ethics course. So where we started was really in a personal reflection on ethics, and you've gone through things like decision making, what makes a good person, the continuum of benevolence, and variations that ethicists and philosophers and sociologists and religious leaders as well have tried to answer why do people do what they do. And the way I created this course was hopefully in the first half would be very personal reflection, and that you would be able to have some takeaways from this first half of the course that you could apply to your life to provide some sort of structures on our own thinking. I have appreciated the way you've been open and honest and vulnerable about your lives and how you apply these theories, and it's become a very robust discussion. As well, there's written assignments that you've done along the way where you're to do the readings and then try to write theoretically about it and technically about it, which means APA standard essay style. So it's not questions and answers like a test, even though I have leading questions for numbers of the assignments. But what you need to get into your head is, and into your thinking when you're doing the written assignments, is an essay form response that's academic in nature. So the discussion board is pretty personal, just talk-like, and the written assignments are papers. Thus, the midterm exam is really a paper where you pull together a lot of what the first half has been. All right, let's package away the first half of the course, move on. From here, the second half of the course gets utterly practical. So we move from personal to practical. What I'm going to be asking you to do is looking at different fields. Some of you might be very familiar with some of them, or not familiar at all, but you will be taking ethical theories that have been used in business, government, and so on and so forth for assessing ethical behavior. Now, ethics is a popular topic among politicians because they love to say how ethical we are, and we're being ethical about our governance and about our leadership. Same thing with business leaders. We have ethics, we do good business, we're socially responsible, we do good things. But I've always wondered, and maybe you have too, if some of these ethical policies are really to cover a backstage, as Goffman would say. His front stage is how we present ourselves to the audience, compared to the backstage of how we really are, to cover nefarious behavior. Let me illustrate it this way. One of my colleagues in my doctoral work was studying the way lawyers and agents worked in the entertainment industry in New York City. And so the way she studied this was to have on-camera interviews with these leaders. In this one particular case that she profiled in one of our talkback sessions, she had one of the most prominent entertainment lawyers in the city on camera. He is a who's who. You would know some of his clients, but she was secretive about that. But he was known to have a front side that was really good on camera, a backside where he was really harsh, mean. So she wanted to test if this was true. So she put what's called a third eye lens, another camera, as my hand is over here. She had another camera hidden that he did not know about, observing his behaviors on set. Meanwhile, there was this back and forth camera like this, where she was interviewing him directly. As expected, the on-camera interview was beautiful, and he had all the right answers to all the right questions. Think of a lawyer that has been able to argue their way beautifully with a smile and nicely like this about a way to behave and how they operate in the industry. The moment the camera's turned off, He started swearing at people on set. He was mean, he was harsh, and he was not at all the person. Now, Goffman, in his work on the dramaturgical analysis, calls this a game. The game between the front stage and the backstage. The front stage is how I'm able to stage myself through demeanor and deception about who I really am and perform for a specific audience. The backstage is the dressing rooms, the infrastructure, the systems that make the show work, as well as where the individual really is. So he argues that people who are good at the game are able to show one behavior to the front stage but act completely differently to the backstage, or expose a certain image at the front without people knowing at all what's going on backstage. So I've illustrated this with my students, and I'd like to with you as well. Think about when you've gone to a Broadway show or a theater show, and what you actually see on the front stage, the acting, the costumes, the lighting, you hear the sound, but you never actually see the lighting boards. You never see the props backstage being changed. You've never been to the rehearsals. You don't know the infrastructure of people that are behind, because that's not what you're given access to. So the front stage is this show. The backstage is an infrastructure as well as personal life. Well, sociologists have talked about this a lot and have argued that politicians are the very, very best at this activity. Indeed, to become the president of the United States, you have to have a great front show without necessarily exposing much of the backstage, or being able to control the backstage to such a degree so people aren't aware that this is all a show. Or if it's all a show, they at least just blow it off, say, I'm just going to vote for this guy. So this becomes one of the dilemmas between this idea of being corrupt, unethical, while having very strong ethical codes to live by. So in this second half, you're going to be investigating some of these from the Sarbanes-Oxley Act that came in to determine how financial institutions should work, through compliance codes, or what we call honor codes, to various documents that are made by organizations in order to try and monitor and police the behavior of its leaders and its employees. So it'll be an opportunity for you to very much apply this ethical thing into actual models. Remember, the discussion board itself is a good conversational piece. I like 3 solid paragraphs for the main posting, and then good interaction with each other. Try to do some counter arguing, find other ways to look at it when you challenge people in the discussion board. And secondly, the writing assignments are actually written assignments that are academic in nature. Your final exam will be a multiple choice test. That's where you'll go back and look at all the material that you've covered in the course, and it'll test whether you've actually been paying attention to it. All right, hopefully that helps you, and I really hope I am a good person, because I know you are too. Have a great day.